Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Quest for Truth. I'm your host, Corina Pataki, and I'm excited to have here Karen, my incredible producer and friend. Karen, hey, what's up? You're unmute yourself.
It would help.
Of course, you would.
Hey, hey. It's going to be a great episode. Look, you guys need to subscribe right now. Get in the chat. Spread the word because we got Drago in the house today as he drops the bomb on the intel. So we're excited about that. But first, let's do some Quest for Truth business. Coming up, the voice of the cosmos. Look who's going to be on with us.
Ooh.
None other than Laura Eisenhower. She's going to be on. It's going to be a fantastic show. So, Corina, what would you like to share about this episode?
Well, I'm really excited for Laura to come because, Laura is one of the most incredible, wise voices that carry so much hidden knowledge and ancient knowledge regarding so many subjects, but in particular, the voice of the cosmos. What the movement of the planets, what they have to say, what they're trying to share with us. Because, everything was created with the voice. Everything was created because it's a fractal of source itself. So I'm so excited to have Laura with us on because, craziness is happening right now. Disclosure, everything that's happening on every level, and especially the most atrocious part of that disclosure, it's the atrocities, the unfathomable horrors that have been happening to the children. And I'm very big on that, to uncover it, to show people that it's real, it's not conspiracy theory, and then let's do something about it. So with that happening, and with what's happening right now in the world, with what we see with Israel and the rest, I believe that this will be a very powerful interview with Laura, and I'm very, very, very thrilled. She carries so much wisdom, so much knowledge, and I'm so happy to have her on with us. So you guys, don't forget, jump on when we have her.
Yep,
Karen, back
mark
to
your
you.
calendars.
Yep.
Yep. Well, coming up, we'll keep talking about it because we want you to come on. Nashville, USA, the 2026 Disclosure Summit coming up October 16th and 17th. Well, limited seating on this one, but we got a big crowd. So, Karina, let them
Yeah.
have about.
Yeah, you guys, this is going to be so important. And I believe that this is the only one happening in the United States. I know Danny is having her beautiful, powerful conference GSIC in Europe and England. So I love it because I see that there is such an energy, a very crucial moment that we are in to amp up the disclosure. So she's having it there. We're having it here in the southeast. Remember, guys, this is the Bible Belt of the United States, and one of the most important disclosure movements or awakening that we need to have, besides the children, is in religion. Because religion has bound us, humanity, in such a restriction, an imprisonment of fear, control, and manipulation. And we've been worshiping something that is very evil. We as Christians, I'm talking about, just as a whole. So it's high time, you guys, that disclosure is happening. So we have people, the top people in this disclosure movement, incredible people. And I know there's many more out there, but I just so happen to have these amazing people this time, like Elena Denan, like Kathy O'Brien. Oh my gosh, like George H. Lewis, Marvin Atudore from Romania, discussing the hidden technologies that was found in Romania. We have Tony Rodriguez. Oh my goodness. And then a new one for my audience, Jason Westerfield. So you guys take time to come out and just, I believe, and I know that every person that comes, if you come with an open mind and an open heart, you will not leave the same. You will leave changed. You will leave energized. You will leave empowered. You will leave knowing more of who you are and the power that's within you. So yeah, you guys come join us October 16th and 17th, and looking forward to seeing you guys eyeball to eyeball.
That's right. And if you're going to sign up, go to the Quest for Truth with CorinaPataki.com, and you can RSVP today. So we're looking forward to seeing everyone there, and hope all of you guys get signed up. And we can't wait to meet you. It's going to be fun, and we're going to have the Cowboys and Aliens dance and karaoke party. That ought to be
Well, you can't come to Nashville. I'm not into country music. I mean, it has to be really cool for me to be in it. But my cool and your cool is probably different. But you cannot come to Nashville and not have like learn how to do a line dancing and some sort of karaoke and stuff. So I'm not into line dancing, but again, hey, I'm ready to learn. So we're just gonna have a blast after the event. I just want us all to kind of unify and bond and have fun and leave on a high note of friendship, new friendships, awakening, and the empowerment of us realizing that we can do something. It's not just for us to find out shit that's happening out there, but we got to get to a point where we have the solution to take out that and flush it down the toilet. So this is my heart's desire for our summit in Nashville. So yeah, excited, you guys. And I'm excited about today's interview. Holy moly. Karen, anything else?
Yeah, I just want to say again, get signed up at the Quest for Truth with CorinaPataki.com. Get signed up today. We want to see you there, and we are gonna have a good time, but we're gonna have times where we need to listen up, get awakened, and examine the truth. Right?
Absolutely.
All right, Corina. Show's on. I'll see you guys next time.
All right, guys. So thank you for hopping on. All of you that are here, that are watching, please, when you hop on, please like and share. Say hi. Hi, Angela. I know that a lot of you guys will be hopping on at some point later and maybe after the live show. So just as you hop on, just again, let us know you're here. Like and share. Please like and share. And if you are watching us on our YouTube channel, The Quest for Truth with Corina Pataki, please, again, like and share. And if you are enjoying, if the material we're bringing you is helping you awaken on your own quest for truth, then please consider subscribing. So guys, now without further ado, I want to introduce you before Karen brings them in. This incredible guy. I kind of watched his stuff a little bit here and there throughout the years. And within the last few months, I was sent things and I actually had time to sit and watch majority of it, and I was blown away. I was literally blown away. The knowledge that he was bringing, releasing, and some of this knowledge that people like him bring, excuse me, can be very dangerous, very, very dangerous. So I reached out to him. So I'm just so excited that he's coming, because I'm excited for him to share the information that he's going to share. Some of this information maybe you've never heard of, or for those of you that have memories of similar things happening to you, maybe it's going to validate to where you don't think you're crazy, but it's going to validate things that you kind of were like, oh, maybe I'm making that up, or I'm crazy, or whatever, including my Christian audience, my beautiful Christian audience. So Drago Reid, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have him on. He's a certified Dolores Cannon, QHHT practitioner, and founder of fractalsoflight.com. He works with individuals who report involvement in illegal government Black programs, monarch trauma systems, and covert military structures. Drawing from his personal history of military abduction and participation in classified programs, Drago focuses on helping individuals recover blocked memories, integrate trauma center altars, and restore personal sovereignty, which is so important, so important. Now, he has conducted more than 900 regression sessions and is known for his direct questioning style and real-time examination of super soldier testimonies. Through his platform, Portals to Another Dimension on YouTube and Rumble, Drago shares raw recession sessions, interviews, and unfiltered disclosure work. Oh my gosh. So without further ado, let's bring in Drago. Drago, welcome.
Hey everybody, super excited to be here, man. You're reading my bio, man. It just started it started like putting into reality the context of what I do, because I just started seeing on my mind when you started reading that all the people I help with altars, the people that are going through these traumatic programs, and how I can help activate these memories. And there's a lot of stuff they used on us as kids in these monarch programs, and the fact that I can remember a lot of these techniques, I can help basically reverse a lot of the programming. And that, like you said, is very dangerous, because I'm not aware of many people like me that's using their own techniques against them to wake people up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's what you're doing is incredible. It's so needed. But before we dive into that, Drago, I really want the audience, since you are here for the first time, to know who you are. Share a little bit of your backstory, where it started, what they did, how you got your memories, just because I want you guys to see the foundation of who this man is, and his desire to help so many of us that have started getting memories. So, Drago, go ahead and share with us, please, your testimony.
I would say, if we're going to start at the beginning, we're going to start before the life of Drago Reid, and it goes all the way back to Lyra. If you could remote view this, you will see that when the Draconians invaded Lyra, I was on the royal court, directly next to the king and queen, and the Draconians were coming for some of our technologies, and one of those technologies was called the Vatar Net Crystal Array. That crystal array was also used to split Andromeda into the Milky Way. So you would have heard an explosion billion years ago where the Milky Way used to be part of the Andromedan galaxy. Those types of crystal rays were actually used and weaponized. The same type of crystal arrays that were used on Maldek, or Tiamat, the planet between Mars and Jupiter that got exploded and became the asteroid belt. They used the same kind of technology. So when they came and invaded, I had to sacrifice my own life and blow up the crystal array, because this crystal array, I was in charge of it. And this helped balance the planetary harmonics of the entire hologram system. And when they weaponize something like that, they can explode entire planets. So I gave up my life. I allowed Yimi to escape. Yimi Janae, she was the queen of Lyra at the time. She's the main remote viewer at the Farsight Institute. And for those that don't know who that is, you need to get into the Farsight material. They're some of the best remote viewers in the world, and they've released controversial remote viewings of top things that's happened in history. And I've seen that we've been lied to with a lot of what history has told us is true and what's real. But basically, I ended up dying in that lifetime. And before I died, I told Yimi that I would infiltrate the Draconians at the highest level, because before we were talking, before this was being recorded, I was telling you about I possess something called the Architect Codes. And with the Architect Codes, it allows me to access the back doors. And what an architect is it's someone who's been through all the dimensions. Started at the bottom, they've graduated all the way to the top. And at that point, you're invited to become a creator. You can return back to source. So I decided I wanted to become a creator. So I helped create different realities. And you can see this in my Akashic records. You can remote view me live right now and see that that's true. Anything I talk about today, please remote view it. There's nothing that I say is off limits for remote viewing except my private life. Like, if you remote view my private life, you're going to have a team of remote viewers getting into your life, and you have no idea what's coming. But I infiltrated the Draconians at the top as an Alpha Draconian general. And what I did with that, I ended up getting caught in the end. And the Draconians have had me in a loop, lifetime after lifetime. So when I say this is at the beginning, this is not Drago's first secret space program experience. I've been in this for a long time on a loop. Not just sequential order where it's timeline, it's different timelines, back and forth, back and forth. And if you could remote view, you see that I'm not from this timeline. I was put in this timeline against my will. And this is why most of this reality doesn't make sense to me, because I was usurped from another place and forced to do things I would have never have done. That violated my original contract, because part of my contract, I did agree to come here to be put in the secret space program, but they took it out of control. And part of that agreement was there's something called the Central Sun Government. It's the central sun of all suns. And this is how each sun in each solar system connects. It's basically a portal. Every sun's a portal to a central sun, and this is how we can time travel. We can go from the Milky Way to Andromeda. We can just pop into these suns and go through hyperspace, the back door. It's basically like the veins of source. Imagine like the suns are the electrical system of the human body, like a tree. And at the end of each tree, you'll see a limit. It ends. The end of the branch ends. There's going to be a sun. So you enter the sun, you enter the root system. So it's pretty awesome stuff. But it got to the point where the Draconians started hijacking my hypnosis sessions. And anybody who would you consider a high value asset or an HVA, there would be Draconian handlers in the room during these sessions. And I just recently released 2 hypnosis sessions on my YouTube, which I just launched for the first time since 2018, since they deplatformed me and took me down. And it's quite controversial. You'll see that they knew about my Draconian life. They knew what I did to them. They admitting that they're punishing me. And it got pretty crappy. And by part 2 of the 2-part series between 2 females, one named Susan Schatzer and the other one was Bethany Shelton, they both work together. They both run podcasts. And the fact that the Draconians were acting as handlers for both of them, it was pretty shocking. And I ended up having to literally escalate to fight them by part 2. So this is what's going on. This is my connection since Lyra. I infiltrated the Draconians. They've had me in this loop. I've been in the secret space program for numerous lifetimes, even before Drago Reid. So this is not a new thing. The secret space program is not something that's new. It's been hidden from the public. It's been removed from history. Yeah. We only have the space program since Lyra. We've all been spacefaring people since the beginning. And the fact that we've been lied to and convinced that we're nothing, that's the biggest cover up in the entire cosmos. So we're basically the humans that forgot we're gods. And now we're here to take our power back and to remember and to activate as many as we can to take that power back.
Yeah, so that's so good. That is so good. You know, even Jesus said that. He said, for my beautiful Christian audience, if you remember what Jesus said, he was quoting Psalm 82. And he said, didn't it say in your scriptures that you are all gods? Because the power is within us. And you're so right, Drago. They lied. They try to minimize us. They try to say that we're nothing. They try to say, you know, you have to have somebody over you. That's your head. You don't trust what you feel. Don't trust your heart. Because the heart is the darkest, the most corrupt organ. Don't trust. And what you're saying is so true. We have to remember who we are. And this is how we remember. And you have used your amazing gifts to help people remember. So now let's continue from there. How did they, in this life, how did they abduct you, and how did they start using you and putting you in these programs?
They started the moment I entered the Lotus Field. What the Lotus Field is the name of the project when all souls enter Project Earth. You basically go through this box and you get scanned in. It's not as simple as you're a light body and you incarnate and you wake up into a hologram. That's not really how it works. You have to enter this game. It's like a video game. Mm-hmm. You have to go through the electrical cord in order to enter the video game. Upon entering this room, this electrical cord, it scans everything about your soul. What you did in the past, what you did in the future, what you achieved, what ranks, what badges you have on your light body. It shows what pedigrees you have. Everything you've ever achieved. If you're involved in galactic war, if you've been royalty, it's all there. So they part of my architect codes, part of that was hidden. And part of it wasn't, because they have extremely powerful oracles that actually read you the moment every soul enters. And it's not just oracles, it's an AI machine. It's a quantum machine. And this AI is ancient. Like, AI is older than most humans can comprehend, and it's billions of years old. And just freaking thinking about this AI, man. I was just thinking about how this used to be this place used to be a school, and then it was hijacked by extraterrestrials. They came in, just like you said, they acted as our gods, and they took over the hologram. But basically, when you enter the lotus field, it scans everything about you. So after they scanned me, the moment I was actually when I was in vitro with my mother, they started programming me in vitro in my mother's womb. They started hybridizing me. They started injecting draconian DNA strands, zeta gray DNA strands, and all this stuff, because they wanted to program me from in vitro to basically be a commander under the jurisdiction of the draconians. So what happened is I started getting DARPA dreams. They would start giving me torture dreams before I'm even a fully developed baby in the womb. And these nightmares never ended. And I actually met one of the people responsible, one of the programmers that was actually responsible for torturing me in vitro and as a child. And I met him at James Rink Super Soldier Activation Conference back in October before they murdered him. And I connected with a certain person in the audience, and he ends up wanting a session. I go to put him under and realize he's the guy that basically traumatized me most of my life. I mean, the childhood years, and he didn't expect that. He was unaware. He knew he was in the programs. He knew he was possibly SSP, but he didn't know it was like that. And during this hypnosis session, the thought going through his mind was he thought I was going to hurt him when he woke up. So imagine you come across somebody who raped you in the programs. And they get shown that memory of that person actually raping the person they're talking to that they're going under. So it's just like, that's pretty shocking to discover, you know? But at the end of that session, I told him I forgave him. And I hugged him. And he didn't expect that. That's where you have to get to, man. You have to forgive the people who hurt you, because if I've learned anything with Soul Evolution and QHHT and everything Dolores Cannon talked about or taught, forgiveness is everything. Just like Jesus said, you have to forgive others. You have to treat people like you want to be treated, because you are me. Like, I see two people on the screen right now, but I only see source. You know, there is no individual. There's only source talking to source. So if you want to hurt somebody, you're only hurting yourself. So let's say I got all those dreams most of my life. I had those nightmares probably till late 30s, every night, constant, just horrific situations. So let's progress to age 5. By the time they prepared me in vitro, I went through the different programming. When I would go to sleep, they would program me every single night I would be sleeping. That's how they program most of the assets. Whenever you fall asleep, you get programmed. And that's also how they pull your consciousness. Whenever you fall asleep, you go to REM. That's delta wave. Delta wave is required to transfer your consciousness to a clone or to pull you. So I believe the entire Nightmare on Elm Street series was about the programs. And that's why all the people was afraid to fall asleep, because the moment they would fall asleep, they'd go into delta. They would have their consciousness transferred. They'd wake up in a deep underground military base, and then a torture scenario would start happening. You would see that in Nightmare on Elm Street. They'd fall asleep. They wake up. They're in this industrial building. Freddy Krueger's coming, and then they're running for their life. That's what they do. They torture you. They program you. They pull your consciousness, and they keep you in a constant state of torment. And that causes submission. It'll cause the programming to latch on, because if you're always in fear, you can be the most programmed. So most of the people I've ever came across, the people activating in fear, it causes soul de-evolution. It causes cycles, Groundhog Day to keep happening. If you're in abusive relationships, everybody thinks that the grass is greener on the other side. So you go get into another relationship, and you see that you keep meeting the same person over and over and over, the same archetype. And if you can't forgive the past and learn from your previous lessons, you have to keep repeating them over and over. And that's part of this draconian trap. Like I said, this used to be a skull. There was natural evolution. But unfortunately, it's not like that anymore. They installed a frequency fence, a death trap. And this is all seen through remote viewing all around the world. I know it's controversial to talk about, but like, the draconians have done this to most planets. Everybody focuses on only Earth having this kind of death trap idea. But this is all throughout the cosmos. And one of the things I talk about in the SSP is we have something called the VACAR, which is the Vector Anchor Kinetic Avatar Relay. So let's say I'm fighting in space and my ship gets blown up. Typically, if I died in a clone body, my consciousness would rehome back to ship. If that ship's destroyed, I now have to rely on a deep space buoy or a station that's in space. One of those main locations that we use of a car is between Mars and Jupiter. And if I die and my ship blow up, like I said, I would be rehomed to this vault, which is, again, it's called the Vector Anchor Kinetic Avatar Relay. It's a vault system that stores souls between transfers.
Wow.
So let's say if they pull Drago's consciousness when I'm asleep, they deploy me on something, I die, my consciousness doesn't come back to my body that's laying there on the bed. It goes into holding into a vault system. And this vault system, it's not a fun place. You're completely disembodied. You're stuck in darkness. You just have thoughts. You have no comprehension of time or space. You hear other people's thoughts in the vault. You don't know whose thoughts are whose, where they originate from. It all seems like it's yours because it's all disembodiment. It's basically torture, man.
Yeah.
And it sucks. So by age 5, they abducted me. The Air Force came and abducted me. And I thought most of my life I was abducted by Greys until I did hypnosis and found out that it was a screen memory. And it was actually the freaking Air Force that abducted me. Wow. And they ended up taking me to the Violet Hive, the Violet Nest. Those are located in Toronto. The Violet Nest is located below the city of Toronto. And this is one of the world's biggest deep underground military bases, and it's so large it compromises not just Canada, but also parts of the United States. So most of the victims that were in these DUMBs and Topside, that's the code word we use for Topside for Toronto. Topside is where you have all the universities, all the psychiatrists, the hospitals, the people that monitor MK Ultra assets are all located Topside. And Topside we call the Violet Hive. They have skyscrapers where they program people and children. It was James Casbolt that recently came out. He was Max Spears' commander before Max Spears was murdered. And he was verifying my story about the Violet Nest because he heard my talk at the basis conference. And he said, not only is that real, and to this point, I don't know if anyone's ever even mentioned the Violet Hive one time or the Violet Nest publicly. Because most of the things I talked about in my presentations, it was a bunch of classified projects that are not publicly known. And it's very touchy to bring those subjects up. And some of the audience members asked me to talk deeper about them. And I told them, you have to take the responsibility on yourself. You need to look in these things yourself, because I have to be very careful with what I say, because if I talk too much about it, I'm going to get killed.
Yeah.
And because of that controversial talk I did at a Super Soldier talk, literally everybody's afraid for my life. And it's a real thing. They saw that I was, not only am I part of the TIRAP program, that's targeted individuals, that they see that I'm on a top hit list. So that's not fun, man.
No.
And I think about it every day. But basically, age 5, they abducted me. They put me in the DUM in Toronto. I was there till age 15. And,
now, Drago, let me ask you, when they abducted you, was it like you were taken and then brought back in the exact same moment, yet you were taken years, but in your reality right then and there, they brought you back within, a few moments? Or were you missing that whole time?
No, it was more of a 20 and 16 back. The thing about knocked waffen, I wish it was only a 20 and back. In knocked waffen, we do 60 and backs. So that's very common. If you're a knocked waffen and you said you were a part of a 20 and back, that's a lot less common. So that helps us navigate who is actually saying the truth and who's maybe not knowing the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yes. Yes.
They're pretty vicious. Like I even had I had Uber Commando contact me. Uber Commando is a high rank in knocked waffen, and he contacted me about 2 years ago, and he asked me to take part in killing off about 80% of the world's population.
Wow.
So I basically told him to go fuck himself.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Welcome to another in 60 back." I'm like, "Whatever, man. That's all you've ever done to me. So, like, you're just threatening stuff that's never ended. So, like, you can't threaten much more than me than taking my life away, man. They've killed people close to me. They've affected every relationship I've ever been in. Like, it's a life of loneliness. Like, I don't wish this SSP life on anybody. Everybody has these fantasies of what, I wish I was SSP and I want to be in space and I want to do that. No, you don't, man. If you know the truth of what you have to do, the entry fee to get into the SSP, once you know what it is, you'll turn the hell away. You'll never want to think about it again. Because you mentioned the kids earlier, like, that's what's caused me the most pain and trauma, because I always try to save people. And whenever you try to save people that's not authorized, they will let you know it's not authorized. You will be punished in ways you don't see coming. Like, I've been punished and put in VR for 1,000 years. And that's a couple of minutes time.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you torture most people. You can put them in virtual reality in any scenario you want and they can't escape. We have something called the white room, where they put you in VR in this white room and there is no door. You're basically in a white box with light emanating from somewhere, but it doesn't come from nothing. And you're just stuck in a white room with nothing to look at except the white walls. And it causes psychosis. It causes dissociation. Imagine being put in a post-apocalyptic timeline in VR and you've got to fend for your life on a daily basis, but you can't be killed. But imagine having your arm lopped off, but you still won't die. So just imagine what these people are capable of. It's some pretty dark stuff, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Drago, were your parents ever part of the military or anything like that?
Yes.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Almost all my brothers are just getting out of the military now. They've been in the military their whole life. The guy that raised me, I didn't know he wasn't my dad till about age 13. So the guy that raised me left my family around age 10 or age 9. And he went to Las Vegas on a drinking binge, and he's still there on a drinking binge. He never basically woke up. And he was in the military. And that's one thing that I see that's consistent through victims, through SRA, through people in Monarch projects, SSP, is they have some kind of military parents. It could be grandparents. It could be mom or dad. And but it's been military life my whole life. Now you ask me the whole 20 and back stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine trying to tell that to your mom.
Yeah.
Where you have all this stuff to say, but to your mom, you never left. So what a lot of people don't talk about is sometimes they don't just do 20 and 60 and backs. They leave a legacy clone. And what a legacy clone is, it is basically a copy of you that's put in public for your parents, for public consumption, to go to school, to do all that stuff. It's called a legacy clone.
Mm-hmm.
And this clone is typically replaced about every 8 years. So a lot of the people in the SSP, they're having these experiences where, it sucks to say this, but a lot of the people in the SSP, they're not the originals. They're actually clones, because a lot of us were not in public. A lot of us are located underground in stasis. And they put a legacy clone to the public. And this is why you see a lot of people in the SSP, they change looks every couple of years sometimes, and it's sketchy. Kind of like James Rink. James Rink went from being just this huge, swole guy, and then 4 months later, I saw him within 4 months, and he was down to like 140 pounds. And like, that's not possible, man. I don't care what kind of health problems you're going through. That's just not possible. You don't lose that kind. And it basically started this entire kind of remote viewing thing about SSP assets to see who's originals and who's are clones. And what we found out was pretty shocking, that a large amount of us are actually clones. So just think about how that can affect you mentally when you realize that you're not even the damn original and you don't even know who you are, and that everything you've ever known could be a program. Like, I had to find out through my files and remote viewing that almost everyone I ever loved was a handler that was sent in to handle me, and I didn't randomly just meet them. So imagine what that does to me now, because I only recently discovered this within the last couple of years, because I started getting access to my files and I started having a remote viewing team remote view this for me. And they kept seeing the same thing. And imagine what that would do to a person, where you realize the people that you love the most, or the ones where, imagine that, I want you to focus, Corina, on the person that you love the most, that broke your heart the most. That you don't have to say it. I don't want you to mention it.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine that everything you loved about that person was designed.
Yeah.
Every single thing you fell for that made them separate from everybody else, that made you love them deeply, was designed and curated before they met you. So to discover that one day, that the things you loved about the people the most was only done to manipulate you, it makes you feel like you were completely alone. So just imagine what that does to the human mind, being in these programs, man. Like, it's a lot of trauma, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Of course. Thank you for sharing these things, Drago. It's incredible. Now you talked about, okay, so you were taken at 5, you were kept. When did you start getting your memories back as an adult? Meaning, wow, this is what happened to me. Was it as an adult, or was it as a teenager? When did you actually say, holy crap, this happened to me? And did you share with anybody in your close circle, family or anybody?
I was told ever since I was a child that if I talk about this, they will kill me and rape me and
Jesus.
not allow me to go back home. So imagine what that'll do to a child.
Yeah.
And that's pretty jacked. So I told you about the architect codes.
Yes.
What happens if you possess architect codes? It starts neutralizing programming. So I had a lot of these memories growing up as a child because I couldn't go to sleep, meaning that the programming was not fully taking, and I kept waking up everyone around me to the point where I was becoming a liability, where they had to put me in a special part of this dome called the Violet Hive, or the Violet Nest, up in Toronto. And this place was for people who were mega level classifications, people that can affect time and space, people that had the type of powers, because they created me. They created these powers. They gave me these genetic augmentations, and they create hybrids. And what happens is, most of my childhood memories was all sexual. As a child, just even being 10 years old, I remember just being groomed by men and women. You know, a lot of people don't talk about the whole women part, but like, imagine like 30, 40, and 50-year-old women sexually assaulting a little child, and that kind of thing is all you've ever known, that kind of dichotomy. So just growing up, I had nothing but sexual thoughts as a child, and that was tough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And most of the memories I had, it was all just trauma. And for some reason, all my regular lifetime memories were gone. So basically, just growing up as a little Drago, having a life, going to school, almost all that's gone. I ended up having a traumatic brain injury in 2005. I hit a wall doing 120 miles an hour on my motorcycle. And that started memory cascades. It damaged a part of my brain. Just everything started flooding in. But before that, I started having stuff flood in at the age of 24. And what I found out was, I didn't know this until last year, till we started doing the remote viewings, that they designed my crash to do a hard reset. Meaning that they were hoping that if they damaged me enough, that my memories would go away. And what happened is, during that motorcycle crash, I technically died. And my friends watched it happen. They saw me on the side of the road completely dead. And I just remember coming back to my body when the paramedics got there, and I just remember waking up after I came back to my body. And it was pretty tough, man. Most of my body was broken. I broke a bunch of bones. I almost lost the left part of my leg. I had bones sticking out of my body, and like, it was tough. But once I figured out that they caused that to happen, it kind of got to the point where it kind of blew up in their face, because it caused more memories to start coming out. And I show this in my intro to Portal to Another Dimension. That's my podcast on YouTube, which I just relaunched again. It was on Rumble, but you know, Rumble, people hardly ever go to Rumble. So
Correct.
Yeah, so it shows that. It shows what started happening and how everything started flooding in, and it became overwhelming. And they basically told me if I talk about it that they're going to remove me from public view and just remove Drago from the public, and I'll still be active SSP. So basically, imagine they kill you publicly, and then you just have the life of a slave. So there's certain things I talk about. There's certain things I don't talk about, because certain things that I will talk about will cause them to remove me. Yes. So like James Rink, no one's talking about this. When James was killed, James does not go back to source. They pull him, put him in another clone. They remove him from the public. He's still in the SSP. People are still talking about James. They see him in the SSP. His clones are still there, which means his consciousness is still being used. So that's the truth, man.
Yeah.
We can't even die, because if we died, we're still not out of the SSP. That's why if we try to kill ourselves, the only thing that would do is remove us from the public view, but it would not remove us from the SSP. If you can have a choice, would you want to just be SSP in slave-like situations where you're forced to do stuff, or you want to have like a fake cover life? Like, this is why I tell people, Drago Reid is a cover life. I have to pretend to be a regular person. I've got to get regular full-time jobs, plus do all that on the side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a lot. Drago, share a little bit. I mean, you've mentioned some programs. Just when we talked, share a little bit, because I know some people are kind of confused between the Monarch Project and MK Ultra. And so share a little bit about that and other projects that you were so brave to talk about, that you can, only the ones that you can. Share some of these dark programs, please.
Okay, so the MK Ultra program comes from the Anunnaki and the Draconians. These type of programming techniques were used as far back as at least 6,000 years ago, and that's how at least far back Monarch goes on planet. So imagine that Monarch is an off-planet company. It is a corporation. It's part of the interplanetary corporate conglomerate, or what we call planetary corporations. So most Earth corporations are under the control of planetary corporations. So like BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, they're owned by planetary corporation that operates outside the Earth. So most of the corporations that you see emerge on the planet, they were put on the planet for a reason, for mechanisms of control. They weren't just organically created or made. So imagine that, like, no matter where you go, it's program stuff. It's programming, it's symbolism. So what Monarch is, it is the MK Ultra program. Dr. Joseph Mengele, when he was doing these experiments in Auschwitz and doing the twinning and stuff, they got a lot of this information from the Anunnaki, because when the Vril Damen, when they were contacting the Aldebarans for Hitler with the Vril Society and the Tola Society, they were looking for other ships that they can uncover and other occult things that they can use to get artificial gravity. They can activate star charts. They can use technology to see our second sun. Like, we're in a binary star system. That means we have two suns. Because we've been augmented, humans have been augmented, we see less than 1% of the entire visual and acoustic spectrum.
Wow.
So cats and dogs see more than we can do.
Yeah.
So this large sun is actually called the black sun. And this black sun, imagine that we're on this elliptical orbit called the precession of the equinox that takes 25,920 years. What's pulling that is this big sun. It's pushing it here, causing it to go back into space, and then right when it hits this midway point, it pulls it. So the Germans started realizing that they can power technologies off this large black sun. They can get free energy, 0 point energy. They can do all kinds of stuff. So the Aldebarans, which I believe were the Anunnaki, I believe that when they were talking to the Vril Damen and Maria Orsich and all that stuff, and her sister Sigrun and everybody, that they were saying that they were from another star system, but they were actually talking from the Earth, saying that, kind of like for operational security, you don't want to tell everybody all the details, so you're going to pretend you're another star nation. So that's what it looks like happened. And that's how the Germans left the planet before everyone else did. That's how they went to the moon, established a base, and by the time they got to the moon, they realized that the Draconians own the moon, that the moon's not actually a natural planetoid, and they actually own the Earth as well. And then you go back in history, you see that the Draconians leased the planet to the Anunnaki, and that required a marriage of bloodlines. So what I found out the Draconians do whenever they take out a planet, take over a planet, they physically marry their physical beings or DNA into the bloodline of the native species. So that's where you see that one of the brothers, Enkier and Lil's half reptilian, because their mother was Draconian.
Yes.
So this is where all this stuff comes in, where the whole reptilian kind of thing. And that's what we've been. We've been a slave planet since the beginning. I wouldn't say since the beginning. I would say that there were other 22 genetic programs going where other star nations had invested time, property, and DNA to create super beings that can last on different planets, because ever since the Draconians invaded, we've had to take over all these planets, all these moons, hollow out asteroids to try to get away from all this war, because these wars never ended. We had the Draconian Wars, then we had the Orion Wars, and the Orion stuff never ended. The Orion Syndicate is still running Earth. So like this whole battle over the portal of Orion, setting up all the pyramids all around the world to align with Orion, it's all aligning with their own portal systems, and the Draconians control that Orion portal. So imagine that even if humans evolve and we go to 5D, unless we take out their strongholds in the Orion Syndicate and the fact that the Draconians own all these planets, how can we truly win if you think about that? Because what you would call the Galactic Federation, the good guys, they haven't really done much to really free us, because everybody says we're a level 0 civilization, which means we haven't achieved interstellar travel. We haven't done this. I disagree with that. We've achieved all that. It's all classified.
Yeah. It's not open.
Yeah. So the fact that we can't even free ourselves to the point where we have to pop timelines to go to a different Earth, that kind of sucks. It's kind of like, I would love to see that we defeat them in one epic moment, and the history books change. It's all over the news. It's in education. We rewrite history, but like, I don't see that happening anytime soon, because you have to realize this is an organic holographic matrix, and it's programming. You understand? So like, nothing is truly real. Nothing is physical. It's all in the mind. We're located in the mind of Source. And they found out a way to weaponize and put us in these systems. So like the solar system, it's basically a soul system to trap souls, just for the Draconians. Not all souls are entrapped. So just understand that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying within our local star systems, they've taken over all of it.
Yeah. Wow. So do you see any hope, Drago? Because it's a lot. I'm sure our audience is watching. They're going, holy crap, then what the heck do we do? Like, there seems to be no hope. What do you have to say to the viewer?
I'm not one of those negative Nancy guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's obvious the light always wins.
Yeah.
Because that's where we get all the cycles from. You see the rise and fall of dictators around the world, and they always get toppled. What the Anunnaki and Draconians found out was, when they kept instituting kingship, the people kept rising, because the elites kept taking all the resources. They started hurting the population, and that only lasts for so long before people starts rising up. And you see this in the rise and fall of all civilizations. The people rise up, take their power back, and then they have to reset the simulation. So this is why we're finding gears and machine parts that are millions of years old, that are in different rock strata that is 100 million years old. We're finding technology because we've done this over and over and over. And this is why we keep finding all these ancient technologies. One of the things they sent me for, and the programs for, is from archaeological retrieval. So as part of Project Phoenix, I had a commander named John Whitberg. He's wrote the entire book series called The Man with the Periwinkle Eyes. You can find it on Amazon, and he has all 4 of those books for free on YouTube. You can read all the books. He has audiobooks for free. And it recants, he tells a story about me being Yoshiro Surabaya with Project Phoenix at the Montauk Project at Camp Hero. So again, I was part of the Montauk Project, the original Stranger Things kids. And the stuff that we had to go through there, man, it was bad. It was really bad, in the way they treated kids, and they're finally admitting that there was probably 500,000 kids that went through Montauk.
Yeah.
And most of them died. So it's a very convoluted story, man. Like, I don't even know how to make sense of it, because like, imagine being in different clones. Imagine Drago being at Montauk, and then imagine Yoshiro also being there, but they're both me. So imagine
at the same time. At the same time.
The exact same time.
Yeah.
So imagine trying to consolidate the memories of who's who and what experiences was in what person. So that's the most confusing part. Yeah. So most of the people at Montauk, they remember Drago. The other part of the people at Montauk remember Yoshiro. And Yoshiro ran the armory. I could tell you how an armory runs. It's very cool. Like, I was responsible for all the technologies, the weapon systems, the exosuits, the everything at Montauk. And we were using such advanced technology. It's like sci-fi movies, man. Yeah. Everybody thinks that our clones back in the 1980s and 70s were obsolete, but they're not. State-of-the-art clones that you see today, a lot of the clones we're seeing today in celebrities and stuff like that, those are the cheap disposable clones. Yeah. Where they have to be replaced about every 8 years. And that's why you see all these celebrities, they say, well, I got plastic surgery. I believe they're using plastic surgery as cover for this is a new clone. So, but this is the truth in reality. Like, most of our politicians have been cloned. Because imagine this, if you're president, most G20 countries already read into the fact that we have clones. So imagine Trump, for example. Trump's not going to go around with his original body getting killed. And one of the things the Farsight Institute remote viewed was Trump getting killed. They found out. They remote viewed that Trump was killed within the first 3 months of his presidency this time. They literally saw a rocket come down to New York and hit his limousine and kill him. So imagine that. Yeah. This is not an alternative timeline. They literally saw that happen. It's been remote viewed by everybody else. So just think about that, for example. So most of these people, they're not going to allow their host bodies to be killed. So most of these high value assets, they're operating from deep underground military bases. A lot of the public stuff they're doing, like when Trump was shot in the air, I don't believe that was Trump's original body. There's no way. Okay, we have Project Looking Glass. You don't think that the president of the United States is not being read in by Project Looking Glass when they can see who's going to assassinate him in the future? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You don't think he knows all this is coming? Like, come on. Yeah. And Trump, man, everybody talks about Trump going to Mars and they see him on the moon and all the SSP talk about him. So it's not just like Trump's operating from Earth. He's actually going to Mars and he's also going to the moon too. And so is Elon. Elon's a completely different direction we can go, but like they're both involved with the SSP. They know it exists. Yeah. And Elon's being used to bring out planetary corporations' technologies under guise of him inventing them. So like Neuralink, he didn't actually invent Neuralink. It's called Neuralink. So in where you have the A for Neura, it's actually called Neuralink with an O. And all SSP assets have it. It's located right here. It's actually it's at the base of our skull right back here. And all the clones have the Neuralink. That's how we communicate. That's how they activate everything. That's how they can turn our powers off. That's how they can throttle stuff. They can shut us down. They can do all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting. So it's mind control stuff. Yeah. And there was a book called Project Mars that Werner von Braun wrote in 1952. He's the Nazi scientist that came over through Operation Paperclip that helped co-found NASA in 1958. Everybody thought he was like this public good guy. He was best friends with Walt Disney. Yeah. He helped unveil the plans for Disneyland. And you find out that the Germans actually paid for the deep underground military base to be built on under Disneyland. Yeah. So most people don't know this, but the CIA bought all the swampland for Walt Disney, and they paid to build an entire base in the swampland before Disneyland was created. So everybody talking about the underground tunnels and this and that, it's a deep underground military base at Disney. And this is why Disney has this law where if something happens, the police are not allowed to come with guns. It's almost like they have
Wow.
like the Vatican rules, where they're operating their own government within this kind of territory. It's the same laws with all deep underground military bases. There's no constitutional rights at that area. So if everything's located in the circle, there are no constitutional rights within it. Just like at every deep underground military base, you're using military doctrine at that point, military code of justice.
Wow, 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 wow. You have just revealed so much, so much. You were talking about the Project Phoenix, I believe.
Mhm.
Can you describe that a little bit more?
So Project Phoenix stems into the notion where phoenixes, they die and then they're reborn. That's part of this cloning program,
Yes.
where they'll send people like us knowing that we're going to die, and then we have to just go back from clone to clone to clone to clone to clone. Imagine that kind of mentality where that's your entire life. That's all you've ever lived. There is no individuality anymore because we relate to our body. That's who we are. So imagine what it does to the conscious, to the mind, where you keep going into new bodies. Imagine, Corina, you being put into the body of an 88-year-old man or a 6-year-old little boy, but you have the consciousness
Wow.
of you now. That's what they were doing with Project Phoenix. They'd put us in little kid bodies, and then we'd go on an operation to basically infiltrate a pedophile, learn his systems, or go to infiltrate someone to kill them. And this is where the sex kittens came from, the black widows came from, the sparrows. Like, male assets are called sparrows, and female assets that's part of that package is called black widows. So this is where the whole Black Widow thing from Marvel comes from. They're telling you that that's the MK Ultra program. They show it in the John Wick series, the Ballerina series with the spinoff of John Wick. They're showing you that the Winter Soldier, it's all MK Ultra programming. The same thing that happened to the Winter Soldier is basically my story, not stealing it from me, but I went through the same experiences. One of the programs I was put in was Kruger, and Kruger is also a German program created by. It was originally created by Walter Kruger, the SS general, and then it was passed on to Gabriel Kruger, and they partnered with Arasaka Robotics, which is a part of the Japanese breakaway civilization. Like, the Japanese SSP is called YNK. The Chinese version is called Red Dragon. There's all these SSPs that's not talked about publicly, like one of the Russian SSP programs called Murkoff, which I was in the Murkoff program as well. I was in Murkoff before I was Drago Reid. And one of the reasons the Germans put me in Nachtwaffen was to punish me for what I did to the Germans in World War II, because I was a major general on the Russian side during World War II, which is a 1-star general. And one of my main missions was to find Werner von Braun's V2 rocket factories. And in order to do that, I had people bring me all these top-ranking SS Luftwaffe SS people, and I would torture them to find these locations, because they were using the V2 rockets and they were killing everybody. They was killing the Allied forces. They was killing the Americans. Because remember, Russia was allies with the United States. We weren't the enemy.
Right.
And I blew up a lot of their factories. And it's funny, the ACIO, I don't know if anybody knows, a lot of people have never heard of the ACIO. It's called the Advanced Contact Intelligence Organization. And 2 public people named Peter the Insider and Jessica Morocco, they work for the ACIO. And we're connected in that story, in that World War II story. I'm not going to tell it, but let's just say that we know each other beyond a reasonable doubt. And there was a video game created because of what we did. And it's called Call of Duty Black Ops. It's actually very interesting. If you look in a character called, my TBI is kicking in. I think his name is Nikolai Dragovich, but the main bad guy's name is Dragovich. So if you just kind of read the history of that and kind of connect that, that's actually a true story. So the rabbit hole goes extremely deep.
Yes.
Man. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I
Drago,
said, it's just been SSP my entire life and lifetimes, and I'm just tired, man. I'm ready for the
Sure.
wars to end. I want to go home. I want to have a family. I can't even have kids in this life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 46 years old, and they told me if I ever have a kid, they're going to rape it and put it in the programs. So imagine what that's like, just wanting to be a father, and that's all you think about, and you can't even have what everyone else has because you know what you're passing on to your children, because my augmentations, my hybridization, I pass that on genetically to my children, which means those children are property of the Monarch program because they technically own my body. I talk about that in my presentations because some of the augmentations I have, they own it. It's patented. That means I'm somewhere between a product and a human being, but I don't have the rights of a human being.
What augmentations have they done, Drago?
Oh my God. A lot of psionic upgrades, a lot of psychic upgrades. The Zeta stuff, for example, when you mix that with draconian DNA, that's a high percentage of reptilian DNA that they put in you. And what it does, it makes me a really amazing commander. It makes me see in a way that most people can't see. It makes me react with the timing of the draconian. I can slow down time. I can do all kinds of things. I can be around draconian weaponry, and my DNA will activate that weaponry. And that's one of the things that's not talked about in the SSP. You can't just pick up a gun off the floor from a dead SSP person and start shooting people. Everything is DNA keyed. They showed that in the movie, I think it was District 9, where basically they kept having people try to pick up these weapons and they weren't working. And the fact that the main character in District 9, they mix their DNA with him, he can start activating these weapons. So everything is DNA keyed. Like some of our weapons in Nachtwaffen, there's a sensor on it, and it takes part of your DNA before you pull the trigger. You understand how that works? You have to have these. You have to have these upgrades put in genetically, or you can't activate a lot of these weapon systems. So when you get hybridized with other species, it gives you all these powers. And what happens is it makes you more powerful than you can be controlled sometime. And that's how I ended up at Merge, which is the Monarch Umbrella refugee group at the Toronto Dome. And it was to punish me because everybody that was there, the Brian Singh of the Full Disclosure Now conference, he's one of the kids that was there. We were tortured together in the Dumbs. A woman named Julia Ankerhaven, she was there as well. She's basically Vanya from the Umbrella Academy. Omega level class mutant that can use her mind. That you do. Most people don't know what Omega level means. Omega level is people like Professor X, Jean Grey, Magneto. You can do stuff to time and space, or you're like a bender of some kind, airbender, firebender, or earthbender. And that's what this is. And people like that they're not easy to be controlled. So they put the worst of us that kept waking up from the programming, and they put us in this merge group. And that got really out of control. And what happened at age 15 is we thought we were rescued by Kruger when they came in to rescue us. But all the kids that were taken, we were put in other programs. So that's what I've seen. A lot of this SSP stuff, when we start taking out a deep underground military base and we start rescuing kids, the bad guys in the SSP come in to take those kids, and they say, hey, we're going to heal these kids. We're going to put them through re-education, deprogramming, release them to the world, and they don't. They weaponize them and put them in more programs, and you never see them again. So that's what we started seeing. A lot of these people we would rescue, and part of that chain of custody, when we would give that chain of custody away, that chain of custody would disappear. It would disappear from paperwork. It would disappear from our official logs, and no one can make sense of it. And the more questions you ask, the more punishment you would receive. So imagine that. You're saving a bunch of people. You're freeing sex slaves. And if you don't free them by yourself and fly them to a safe place to release them, that chain of custody, they will be put right back into the programs. And that's the nasty secret. So a lot of these kids that are getting rescued, you don't see them coming topside. You don't see them telling their stories. You just see they just disappear again. And that's what happened to us.
Drago, have you, in your testimony, the memories that you have you seen anybody that is off planet that was involved in helping rescue you at any point in any of your memories lives?
Ask me that question one more time.
So have you seen anybody in your memories being rescued that was off planet? Is there anybody in charge, like Galactic Federation, or anybody that's in charge of helping rescue children from these
Okay.
places?
This is not widely talked about, but it is shown in this book here. This is an entire book about me that was remote viewed by somebody else. They wrote this entire book about me.
Mm-hmm.
And this talks about how I broke free from the SSP and I'm running my own fleet with Nachtwaffen ships. And we basically broke free from Nachtwaffen and the SSP, a bunch of different factions. We got tired of being used. We got tired of seeing people murdered. And it got to the point where we started fighting back. So we started forming fleets and we started working together. And we realized this is the only way we could free people. Like, we free sex slaves, we free children, we fill people that are caught in cybernetic machines. I have freed my own people that are caught in long-term stasis, and they've been there forever. You know? But you can't do this in traditional SSP mechanisms. It's not authorized. You're just not authorized to do it. If you get caught doing that, you can be punished. So it's being covered up. A lot of these SSPs are involving the human trafficking. They need people to be sent off planet. They need people to go build technologies and help build out DUMBs and all this stuff. So unfortunately, it's an entire it's a slave racket. Humans are the most valuable currency in the cosmos. No, I'm sorry, beings. Beings are the most valuable currency in the cosmos. Like the CIA, for example, if they want to sell me to another faction, what they'll do is they'll sell a part of my DNA and an alter package. So that means alters were created in the beginning and they license that alter out and that DNA. So basically, let's say they give you a gram of DNA and an alter package. They'll grow me from that gram of DNA and then they'll replicate it. And they have a lease on me. They're allowed to owe me for a certain amount of time. Sometimes you can buy somebody outright. If you pay the right amount of money, you can buy me from the programs. So this is what actually started happening. It's they put me in cross-faction rotation between all these different SSPs. So I got to see different ways in how everything was being run other than just being in Nachtwaffen. Like a lot of people in the SSP, they only say, well, I was in Solar Warden or I was in Nachtwaffen. I got to be in a bunch of these SSPs. And the way this works is, this is going to sound insane, and I get it, man. But if you can remote view this, you'll see that they've had me the life of Drago. I have served over 2,500 years in the SSP in the lifetime of Drago Reid, and 20 in backs, 60 in backs, time travel, alters, all together, that's about 2,500 years of servitude. That's insane.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And
wow.
I'm just, all I want to do is disappear. I don't want to do this no more. I'm tired. And energetically, it sucks everything for me. There's not a single day that I'm more awake than 30%. And it's hard to just exist every single day. It is hard for me to literally get up and not just want to be here. You know what I'm saying? This is all I think about 24 hours a day. I think, when I wake up in the morning, I take a shower and I feel my body. I look for puncture wounds and lacerations. Every single day I wake up with lacerations. Almost every single day. And I've also shown publicly that I keep waking up and there's always blood on my sheets. And I cannot explain this. Blood constantly on my sheets. And this isn't small amounts of blood. I'm not losing time. I'm not leaving my house. My camera systems in my house shows that I never leave my house. But yet I have no puncture marks that would produce this amount of blood. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So imagine kind of living that life,
Yeah. So Drago, because of everything you've gone through and you're still experiencing, you have decided to help people get their memories back and get some sort of uh, like you said, sovereignty back, their own sovereignty. What are you doing to help people? So I know I read a little bit at the beginning about what you do, but share with our audience if there's people out there that are saying, you know, I feel something, I feel a memory coming, I don't know what to do with it. What can you say to them, and what do you do to help people?
Okay, this is why I offer 1 hour and 3 hour consultations. Most people don't know I do that. It's basically a Zoom to Zoom, face to face conversation where I can help figure out what the hell's going on in your life. I can help you identify the cycles. I can give you a checklist. Did you have military parents? Do you have certain types of dreams? Are your dreams repetitive? Have you been abducted? I can go through this entire checklist. And most people that I talk to that think they're not in the programs, for some reason, 80-90% of that checklist is showing that they're in the programs.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone comes to me and they want a hypnosis session done to recover memories, what I do is I put them under, and I use specific techniques within QHHT and also what I learned on top of that. So I can navigate in a way that most people can't do. And I just started releasing this publicly, like my hypnosis sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's seen my hypnosis sessions ever since 2018, because when I started releasing this hypnosis sessions, there was so many classified topics that were being talked about from these memories of these assets that YouTube, instead of giving me a strike, they just deplatformed me. I didn't get a warning. There was no official email. I just had my channel removed, and I got an email notification that it was just removed, and I wasn't allowed to appeal it. They didn't answer emails. You know how that works.
Yeah.
And basically, I can take you to your traumas to heal them. So let's say if you're not in the programs and you've had a lifetime of trauma and you're basically living in the past, you keep having these cycles happening over and over and over and over. I can identify why you're having the cycle without hypnosis. It's like unlimited with what you can do, period. Mm-hmm. I can unlock your memories. I can help you forgive people. Like, that's one of the biggest things, forgiveness. Most people never forgive anybody. But just like we said, you have to forgive others, because sometimes you don't realize that there's an agreement before lifetimes, before you incarnate into this life, where they agreed to do that to you in order to teach you some kind of self-evolution. And most people caught in cycles on that Groundhog Day, they've done this for numerous lifetimes in a row. They don't realize that this isn't just the first lifetime where I'm going through all these struggles and stuff. And it actually goes back to numerous lifetimes. And a lot of times we're shown that it originates from one specific lifetime. So this is what we do. We identify everything. If you want to know if you're in the programs, I will have your higher self show you if you're in the programs. I can take you to any moment of that. Anything that the program is blocking, I can access a lot of it that most people cannot access. Because what I do, I was used as an interrogator in the programs. And what I do is I use the Socratic method of law to constantly ask questions. So you see in my hypnosis sessions, if you get to watch them, I constantly ask questions. I go deeper and I go deeper and I go deeper. And most people don't know how to do that. You have to know the structure of the SSP in order to know how to navigate through everything that you come across, because one thing people are not trained to do is, if you start accessing certain classified subjects on an asset when you have them under in hypnosis, you can activate their omega programming. And if you're not careful, once that is activated, they will literally kill themselves. Mm. It actually happened to Penny Bradley. James Rink did a hypnosis session on her, put her under, and he was basically, instead of making about Penny and what her memories were, he decided to make it about him, to discover more memories about him so he can put it in his book. And what happened is he activated her omega programming, and he couldn't get her out of the omega programming. And Penny would see this tomato blood red for the longest time. And that's dangerous, man. If you don't know how to, like, calling the Andromedans or calling whatever god you claim to help you during a hypnosis session because you just activated omega programming, that's not going to work, man. And I've done 2 hypnosis sessions on Penny in person. Every time she comes to the Full Disclosure Now conference, I always give her a free session. She's basically the OG of Nachtwaffen. She's like class of like 1963, I think, with Langley with the CIA. So she's one of the original OG SSP people. And part of Project Phoenix, I was I was how do you even word it? I was assigned to her family because Penny Bradley was connected to Admiral Carl Emmerman. He's one of the highest ranking people in Nachtwaffen. If you've ever heard testimony and you ever heard the word the old man, that's Carl Emmerman. Everybody used to call him by this code name because no one knew his true name. He was just be called the old man. And I was assigned to his family. One of those people's Penny, and her son is Arkeem Ra. And John Whitberg is also in that family as well. So I've been around them my entire life, acting as a protector and like, I wouldn't say a handler, but more of as an overseer to make sure I protect them. So when I met Penny in this lifetime, I think I've known Penny for maybe, in the here and now, I've known her for maybe, I guess, 8 years. And we've had past lives together. When she was Draconian, I was one of her Draconian guards when a coup happened and she was killed. So like this goes back more than you can imagine, especially the connection with the Draconians. So like, it's tough. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been writing about my SSP experiences for the last 6 years now, and it's volumes of books, but I haven't even released a single book yet because there's so much to talk about because I'm still trying to make sense of it all. Because if you're in clones, you're in Drago, you're in this and that, you don't understand what memory is from what because it's so many memories. You understand? So imagine trying to unpack all this and figure out who the hell I was when it happened. Because again, Project Phoenix is all time travel. So in Montauk, we kept going on time travel missions constantly. And then when Montauk was closed down, me and John was transferred to Cheyenne Mountain Complex, and I ran the armory there too. I had the same job I had at Montauk. I'd be taking people through portals and opening the portals for people, and I was a gate engineer. And I was responsible for taking sorties and groups of people and high-value assets and people from Planetary Corporation, high-ranking CEOs of Planetary Corporation, and acting as security. So it's a lot, man. Like there's so many. If you could remote view me and you try to make sense of it, even a remote viewer can't make sense of it because it's too much. Imagine 2,500 lifetimes worth of experiences in just a single person, you know?
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Drago, before we let you go, I know that probably we have some viewers watching and they're having memories and things, but then they're feeling like, is this ever going to end? They're feeling hopeless. What do you have to, what message do you have for them to, in a way, encourage them that they're waking up for a reason? And it's not necessarily to destroy them, even though that's the plan, right? That's the plan of the dark ones. But Source's plan is always for life. So what can you leave them with, an encouraging word regarding their memories coming back and them not knowing what to do with it? Because I know a lot of Christians have contacted me throughout the years that they're having memories and they don't know what to do with them. So I know there's people watching that feel that. So what is it, something that you want to leave them with?
The light always wins. This is a multi-dimensional universe. There is not one main timeline. The reason why the Mandela effects are happening, where everybody's arguing about what the fact is, who's right, who's wrong, everybody's right. No one's wrong. We all got thrown in this one epic timeline because they activated so many technologies. They started turning on the Hadron Colliders and started ripping up holes in time and space. And what we're having is we're having a quickening, like they say in Highlander. Everybody's consciousness is now quickening. We're starting to wake up. We're starting to realize we are being controlled. Everybody's starting to come to the conclusion that clones are actually real. Celebrities are involved in the cloning. Like, I'm meeting more people now that I thought were regular people, and they bring up to me the clone situation. And the moment that they bring it up to me, I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing that like a muggle is believing in this stuff. So it's just like, we're starting to talk about it. So If you want to activate your memories, there is only one way to do it, and it's quite controversial, and this is how I got a lot of my memories. I write down all my traumas. I then face those traumas. I put myself in situations that cause the trauma in order to activate the memory. People, sometimes when you put someone under, a lot of times they have trouble going under because they're afraid of what they're going to experience. They're like, what if I don't want to know the truth? You know, that's the excuse people tell themselves. If you want to evolve as a soul, you have to face your traumas. You cannot put them in the closet. You cannot run away from them, because if you don't face your fears and traumas, you have to repeat it lifetime after lifetime in the same situation as the same person with the same people who hurt you. This is what this is. It's a video game. We are light bodies that cannot die, that were put in basically an organic video game, a simulation, in order to have experiences, to see what we're capable of. That's what Source wanted. What am I? What am I capable of? At that point, that's where duality was created. I want to know what good and bad is, because I am both light and dark. Dark isn't a bad word. It's a polarity. If you hate the darkness, you hate yourself, because you are the dark. That's what facing the shadow self is. You have to face the shadow self in order to integrate the energies, because if you're only exuding the energies of the feminine, you're blocking the masculine. I am both male and female energy, just like you are. This is kind of like, there's a phenomenon that happens with homosexuality. Let's say a man was born, he identifies as a woman. What happens is, a lot of times they're forced into that body because they only want to be in that feminine archetype in lifetimes. But in order to evolve your own soul, you have to be both. You have to be male and female to understand what the duality is. And that's the entry fee to the higher dimensions. You have to balance light and dark, male and female, good and bad. Because if you only knew good, if you're only the love and light woo-woo kind of person, you're not going to evolve. You become a fundamentalist. You think in one direction only, and you don't see that everything else is in front of you. So face your traumas, forgive the people that hurt you. And what I mean by forgive them, you don't have to forgive them. You don't even have to talk to them. You forgive them to the universe. I like to tell people, write all your problems down, talk to them, physically say, you did this to me. Write everything you want to say, everything. Get all the feelings out. Then you burn that piece of paper. There's no difference of you doing it to their face and doing it to the universe, because this is all one holographic projection. So to forgive somebody, to tell them how you truly feel for the first time, you feel like the energetic weight is lifted off you. It feels like someone's not stomping down on your life and you got the weight of the world on your shoulders anymore, and you can breathe for the first time, because you literally let that energy go. It wasn't to forgive them, to forget what they did to you. Look how they made you stronger. If they abused you, look what you learned from it. It taught you that you are a powerful soul, that you can take trauma. It taught you that you can be in the most horrible situations of life, and you always seem to actually not die. That makes you very strong. It makes you where you realize, if you can't realize how strong that makes you, you're not learning the lesson. And once you learn that, oh my God, that abusive relation taught me to identify possible people that were coming into my life that were going to be a narcissist or a sociopath. So thank them for what they did for you, to the universe, and then let it all go, man. Just release it for the first time. And if you can't do it, come get a hypnosis session. I only have to see you one time. I'm not a therapist. I'm not all these other terminologies where you come see me for years and I don't heal you. Hypnosis can heal you in a single session. One session can heal you in ways you cannot imagine, because we have your higher self release it. Yeah. Because consciously we want to release trauma, but for some reason we said, I already healed from that. I let that go 6 years ago. Then why do you think about it every day? Why do you keep going to the past thinking about that traumatic situation that happened if you've already forgave it? So that's it. The way to evolve in this time, in this quickening, forgive yourself other than forgiving others.
Very good.
You have to forgive yourself and blaming yourself. 2, you have to start loving yourself. Very good. Most of us do not love ourselves. It took me 3 years ago to start realizing I love myself. I fucking hated myself for most of my life for what I had to do. It's very emotional. I'm a very emotional person, you know, but no one knows, you know. I have to keep it to myself. So like, I let it all go. I let it go that almost everyone I ever loved was a handler. It affected me for a little bit, but I let it go. I forgave them because some of those people that handled me, they were used against their will. They were forced to be a handler for me. So I am dissolving the contracts by forgiving them. I don't care if you raped me in the programs. I forgive you. If you ever do it again, you're dead, period. Up to this point, I will forgive you, even my worst enemy. If I could turn my enemy into a friend,
Wow.
we can weaponize that in ways to take them down, because one of the biggest missions I have is to convert darkness. I can take some of the most horrible people and I can force them to see their own light, to start making newer decisions, to better decisions, start saving themselves. That's how we formed this entire large fleet. A lot of these people were bad guys that we converted to the light. Because some of our technologies, we have certain exosuits that produce a gold force, energetic force, and it converts darkness. It forces epigenetic changes in the light body to be forced forward. And the archangels were talking about that, shining in the light of God, and it would turn enemies into nothing. That's what it does. It converts darkness. So that's one of the biggest honors, to take someone who's went to the extreme darkness and bring them back to the light. Because we need more warriors that have the experience of the darkness to help fight the darkness, because darkness will do things light is not capable of.
Right.
So you have to go to the dark in order to defeat the darkness. Wow. I'm not over there doing muggle spells and like Harry Potter spells. I'm like, oh no, I want you to just imprison you. I don't want to take your life. What did Batman learn? Every time that he didn't want to take a life, or Superman didn't want to take a life, that person would be put into prison. They'd be released the next week. They're back to raping and killing people. Some people have to be removed from the timelines, period.
I agree.
And that's the price I will pay every time.
I agree.
So if you want to see me as a killer or a murderer, it is what it is. But I will do whatever it takes to free all these people I can, including to free myself and to free these children and to free all enslaved souls. And I will die for it 1,000 more times.
Wow, Drago, thank you for coming on. You're really amazing. You're really amazing. I'm so sorry for everything you've gone through, but I know, there's a scripture that says all things work together for good. And sometimes I wanted to take that scripture and shove it down the toilet and flush it, because I'm like, there's no way. But, the more we're evolving, the more we're awakening, we're realizing that. And that's what I realized about you, as hard as it was. And it still is. Your experiences have helped and are helping others. And I love what you just said here at the end, forgiving others. So you guys, as we're going to end right now and let Drago go and let you guys go, I want you to hear this powerful message that he left you with. Forgive, love yourself. That is so key, especially if you're getting memories. Some of these memories are traumatic. Key is forgiveness and loving yourself, because love is the biggest, the ultimate power that heals, that creates, brings us life, and they annihilate the fear. So it's important to love yourself, like Drago. Love yourself. Drago, thank you so much for being on with us. Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And again, remember the last words he left you with: forgive and love yourself. Until next time, remember who you are. You are the ultimate power of source through love. Until next time, love you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.